guys to episode 16. You would have seen that come up on the screen by now. And yeah, what you're about to hear and see is another story that I did with the InVideo AI app. Time travelling flight stuck in 1945. Here we go. Enjoy, hopefully.
The sun was barely peeking over the horizon, yet Redford International Airport was already a hive of activity. Passengers rushed through the terminals. Luggage carts zipped by. The air buzzed with anticipation and excitement. Flight 1945 to Toronto was preparing for departure. The massive Boeing 787 Dreamliner stood proudly at Gate 23. Its sleek fuselage gleamed in the early morning light. Passengers lined up, eager to board and start their journey. Inside the aircraft, the crew was hard at work. Flight attendants moved swiftly through the cabin. They checked overhead compartments and seat belts. Their practiced movements were a dance of efficiency and care. The cockpit door stood open. Captain James Harrison and First Officer Sarah Chen ran through their pre-flight checklist. They verified instruments and systems with meticulous precision. The responsibility of safely transporting hundreds of lives weighed heavily on their shoulders.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Flight 1945 to Toronto.
She began the familiar safety demonstration. Maria's colleagues demonstrated the use of oxygen masks and life vests. Passengers watched with varying degrees of interest. Some followed along intently. Others buried their noses in books or smartphones. The cockpit door closed with a soft click.
Good morning, folks. This is your captain speaking. We're looking at clear skies all the way to Toronto today. Our flight time today will be approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes.
The passengers listened, some already dozing off. Little did they know this routine flight was about to become anything but ordinary. The takeoff was smooth. The Dreamliner climbed steadily through the morning sky. Passengers settled in for the short journey. Some opened laptops, others leafed through magazines. The gentle hum of the engines lulled many into a sense of calm. At 30,000 feet, something changed. A strange vibration rippled through the aircraft. It started as a subtle tremor. Then it grew stronger. Passengers exchanged worried glances. Flight attendants gripped their seats tightly. In the cockpit, alarms blared. Captain Harrison and First Officer Chen worked frantically. They checked instruments and radioed for help, but their calls went unanswered. The vibration intensified. It felt as if the very fabric of reality was shaking apart. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light engulfed the plane. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, as quickly as it began, the light faded. The vibration stopped. An eerie calm settled over the aircraft. But something was very, very wrong. Captain Harrison blinked in confusion. The familiar skyline of Toronto was nowhere to be seen. Instead, a vast expanse of farmland stretched out below them. First Officer Chen frantically checked their instruments. Nothing made sense. They spotted a small airfield in the distance. With fuel running low and no other options, they decided to land. The runway was rough and short. It was nothing like the modern airports they were used to. The landing was bumpy, but successful. As the plane taxied to a stop, the crew and passengers peered out the windows. What they saw defied explanation. The airfield looked old. Vintage propeller planes dotted the tarmac. Men in outdated uniforms stared at their aircraft in awe. Captain Harrison opened the cabin door. The air that rushed in was different. It smelled of oil and burning coal. A group of men in military uniforms approached. Their expressions were a mix of fear and wonder. Something was terribly amiss.
Welcome to RAF Northolt. May I ask where you've come from?
Redford International, we were bound for Toronto.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with Redford International. And your aircraft, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. I hate to ask this, but what year do you believe it is?
It's 2024, of course.
I'm terribly sorry, but you're mistaken. Today is August 15th, 1945. The war in Europe has just ended.
The words hit like a physical blow. Passengers who had gathered at the door gasped in disbelief. Some laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. But the seriousness on the officer's face told a different story. They had somehow traveled through time. Chaos erupted on the plane. Passengers cried out in disbelief and fear. Flight attendants tried to maintain calm, but they too were shaken. Captain Harrison and First Officer Chen stood frozen, trying to process the impossible. Questions flew fast and furious. How did this happen? Was it even possible? What about their families? Their lives in 2024? The reality of their situation began to sink in. They were stranded, not just in space, but in time. As the initial shock wore off, a new fear set in. What impact would their presence have on history? Could they somehow alter the future? The weight of their responsibility was overwhelming. They had to find a way back, and fast. As night fell over RAF Northolt, the passengers and crew of Flight 1945 grappled with their new reality. They were lost in time, facing an uncertain future. Or was it an uncertain past? One thing was clear, their lives would never be the same again. The adventure had only just begun.
And there you go, guys. Time traveling flight stuck in 1945. I hope you enjoyed that. It's going to be a while before you see another one of these up. But rest assured, there will be more. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have us a magical time.